Hey, what's up? What is up with this video quality? Anyway, today we're making...
I'm joking. Gotcha, bitch. Today we are making the highly requested Nachos. Nachos with nacho flavored Doritos for all the MLG no-scoping dudes and dudettes. Now that's some nachoception shit right there. Let's roll. Nacho Wednesday, everyone. That's not a thing. Anyway, we will be making a huge batch of nachos for like 5 to 6 people to enjoy. So divide or multiply the proportions of this recipe accordingly. Let's start with the beef first. We will need the usual suspects. 1 large onion and 3 cloves of garlic. Peeled and onion diced and garlic crushed. Now in a large pan we will soften the onions in, you guessed it,
volleyball.
Thank you, Mr. White. Now once the onions are sauteed, soft and not as thick, you can leave them on the side of the pan and put in 1.5 or about 1.2 pounds of ground beef goodness. That's about 600 grams. Crisp up both sides of this humongous meatloaf on the oil.
Humongous what?
And then it's time for chopping and mixing. Now once you're satisfied with the crispiness of the meat, it's time for garlic. Crush your garlic in and add in all the nacho spices next. In goes black pepper and salt to taste. Then we add 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. Love the smell of this dried up flowering plant in the mint family. Now in goes 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, half with a bit. 1 teaspoon of crushed cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of chili peppers, dried and crushed. You can adjust this one to your heat tolerance. And lastly goes in 1.5 teaspoons of paprika. The symphony of all these smells and my hand covering 1/3 of the frame. Perfect. Anyway, now mix everything and you can see this fond on the bottom of the pan. That's what some people call flavor. So to maintain the flavor, we will deglaze by adding 1/3 cube of vegetable stock. This is not gonna do anything yet. And about 1/2 cup of water. Might need a bit more later on. Now deglaze the son of a gun and let everything thicken on medium heat. Once it's kind of thickened and smells good, it's done. We can set it aside for a bit while we get our nacho sauce, guac, and all the other ingredients ready for our nachos. Let's start off with the guac. We'll need some avocados, of course, onions, red onions, and tomatoes, peeled of course. Now I know this is not the OG guac, or some people might not like the way I do it, but I like a bit of tomatoes in my guacamole. It gives it more color and, well, a bit of that watery tomato taste and crunch. Anyway, first let's cut up our tomatoes into small cubes. Then the avocados so they would be more manageable, and lastly I use shallots instead of onions. But you should use red onions if you like it more traditional way. Great, now in a bowl we add our avocado cubes, squish them with a fork for a bit and then add in about 1/2 lime of lime juice. Well, it will be less for me. Add a bit and taste to get it to the lime levels you like. Then I put in my shallots and yeah, the camera stopped recording.
Oh shit, here we go again.
It's time to boot up Photoshop. So basically what I did was add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt and finish my guac with the tomatoes. I don't really like chunks in my guacamole, so I made it pretty smooth. And that was it. Put on a plastic wrap on top and set it in the fridge to cool and rest. Meanwhile, we can drain our beans.
She made fucking beans, what the f?
I used red kidney beans, but you can use black beans or no beans at all if you don't like them in your nachos. Up to you. And now it's time for the final ingredient, our nacho cheese sauce. We start off with our roux. In goes 1.5 tablespoons of butter. Once it's melted, we add in 1.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now get a whisk and whisk everything nicely until raw flour smell disappears. I've never understood what that means. So just whisk until a fond layer puts on the bottom of the sauce pot and there's no plain flour left. Then in goes our cup of milk. I've added a bit, mixed until thickened, and then poured in the rest. Then mix, mix, mix until we have our sauce base like bechamel. Oh, and I completely forgot to shred some cheese beforehand, so you should shred like 2 cups of cheese. I used this mystery cheese from the fridge, but preferably would have used orange cheddar and American cheese mix if I had some. Now it's time to add in all the spices when there is no lumps of floury butter left and the base is smooth. We add in half a teaspoon of salt, like half a teaspoon of cumin and half a teaspoon of paprika. Simple, right? Mix and then kill off the heat of the stove and add in 1 cup of cheese we just shredded. Please don't use pre-shredded stuff. It's full of like starch and shit. Mix it in and look at that gooey stuff of goodness. Oh my god, it even tastes good. What the fuck? Well, not that good. It needs a bit more salt. Now it tastes good.
That's a 10.
And finally, now we can start assembling our mountain of nachos. Line a sheet pan with aluminium foil or parchment paper so it doesn't get all messy with cheese once we're done. Now add in 1/2 of all of your chips. That will be like 150 grams or something. Also, I suggest using just plain corn tortillas with salt. Damn it! I forgot to get Mountain Dew for the full MLG experience. Anyway, now add in our lovely browned ground beef. Use like more than half of everything you have. And now it's time for nacho cheese sauce. Add a good hunk of that gooiness. Don't forget to leave some for the second layer, of course. Then sprinkle a half a cup of our shredded cheese. Put on our kidney beans, some of them plum or cherry tomatoes that I sliced up before, and then we repeat it all over again with another layer of chips, all the leftover beef, all the leftover nacho cheese, all the leftover shredded cheese, and all the leftover beans and tomatoes. Now there's nothing left over. Awesome. 1 can of beans was a tad bit too much, so expect some leftovers. Now it's ready to go into a heated oven for about 10 minutes or until all the cheese is melted. Meanwhile, let's get 2 ramekins, one with sour cream and the other one with guacamole in it. And once the nachos are done, I like to add gallops of guac and sour cream in all different spots so everyone can enjoy equal spread of everything. Not gonna lie, it looks kinda good, even though some cheese spices burnt on the chips. Wow, and now it's time for the taste test. Get over here. Taste it with me. Damn, wow. Feels like I've just ordered these at the bar or at a restaurant, but they're very much so better since, well, it was made with some secret sauce, you know? I call it love. Also, I can feed a family of 6 with this much nachos and not even break the bank. It cost me like only $13 to make, and 3 of us in the family ate it for 2 days. Mexican or Tex-Mex food is the greatest, period. Except Italian food. Peace!